Hi everyone. I'm just gonna blog for a little bit. It's a nice day outside, and I'm still at work, but I took a cigarette break, and I thought, since it's a beautiful day and everybody's pretty much gone, I thought I'd come out and blog a little bit. I just really wanted to talk about the weekend. It was really fun. For those of you who don't know, I went to Colorado for the weekend. My good friend Tony and Patrick were gracious enough to get me a standby flight, which basically means it's the same type of flight that people that work for the airline use to get around. It's kind of like a free flight, you know, if as long as there's a seat available, you have a seat, kind of a thing. My understanding of it, and I could be completely wrong about this, is they do that because, well, they're going to fly there anyway. So, so went there Friday. Had, you know, a very, very nice flight. One of the things I really enjoyed about it was I actually got to start reading Twilight, which I've been trying to read for the past 3 months now. I got about 3/4 of the way through from the flight down and then the flight back. And for those of you who are who have read it or have seen the movie, I don't know if the movie follows it the same way the book does, but I'm at the part where they're playing baseball. So if you can gauge where I'm at in that part. I'm not going to give any more than that because I have read a little bit further, but that's a spoiler and I don't do that. So went to Colorado to visit Tony, and he was gracious enough to let me stay at his place and show me around and kind of be a tour guide, which was kind of a nice change because usually when I'm in Milwaukee, I feel like I do the same things all the time and all that, and it was kind of nice to get away from all that. We started out on Friday going to a place called Hamburger Mary's, which is a very eclectic / eccentric restaurant where they serve all these burgers and sandwiches and stuff like that. But the fun thing about it is they all have, you know, funny innuendos. Like, I had the Barbara Q burger. I don't know, it's stupid, but it made me laugh. And they have all these different flavors and fun stuff. After that, we went to a bar called JR's, which, for those of you that live in Milwaukee, it's kind of a combination between Fluid and Stenny's. It's got the feel and size of Stenny's, but the atmosphere of Fluid. One thing I did notice is that every bar, every restaurant, every major public social gathering place, they have spared no expense in putting in TVs and entertainment and game systems, and I mean there were LCD TVs everywhere in every place we went, and it seems like somebody had the market on some form of closed circuit system, because almost every bar and every restaurant we went to had their own advertisements playing on the TVs. They had their own custom music, their own remixes, and I think that's a really big selling point, and I really wish a lot of places in Milwaukee would start doing that, but it's not my place to really, you know, say anything about that. So, let's see. JR's was fun. I was a little jet-lagged from the flight, so we didn't stay super long. Probably crashed out about 10 o'clock. Went home, went to bed, woke up in the morning. It was rainy on Saturday, and it was really, really foggy. So we did try to go into the mountains in Boulder, but couldn't really see anything, so it kind of wasn't worth it. But on the way back, we went to this place called the Black Horse. Now, I have pictures online at BillieHawkins.com or Sonic.org, but the Black Horse is this really, really old, weird restaurant / bar, where it's kind of like a BW3's where you order your food, go sit down, go pick it up, bring it back. But every wall, every surface, everything had different kinds of graffiti, artwork, literature, pictures, license plates, wagon wheels, deer head. It was the weirdest thing. It was like looking at 200 years of history all smushed into a backyard or into a basement or something like that. But it was still fun and comfortable. And it's one of those places where they actually encourage you to leave a little bit of yourself. Like almost every wall, every chair, every table had little initials or signatures or Joni loves Chachi or whatever. But it's encouraged. So I didn't. I didn't have anything in which to scribe my name or anything like that. And besides, I figure I'll be going back there again one of these days. So if that's the case, then I'll do it. But after that, we hung out at this Mexican restaurant whose name escapes me, but had really, really good margaritas. And these margaritas are so strong that the bar actually enforces a 3-drink limit on their margaritas per person. It's the first time I've ever heard of that, but you can't buy a pitcher, you have to get it by the glass, and you're only allowed 3, and they keep track. I don't know how, because there were so many people in there and it was so crowded, but they do. So they were really good though. Had a very interesting meal. Normally I get a burrito when I go to a Mexican restaurant just because it's the safe answer, you know. Well, this burrito had Swiss cheese on it and marinara sauce on top. Like, it was like a salsa, but it was more tomatoey and chunky, or not chunky, saucy, not salsa-y. And it was really good. I mean, I really liked it. Their guacamole was really good too. I highly recommend it. If I could remember the place, I'd let you know, but I can't. Let's see. That night we went to the equivalent of La Cage called Trax. Awesome place. We got there a little after 10, and I'm glad we did, because not even 20 minutes later, there was a line out the door. And not just, like, you know, 3 or 4 people waiting because somebody's slow getting your money. It was like waiting to get into a concert, or you know, a Chicago club or something like that, or you know, New York, San Francisco, whatever. It was just awesome. And I get it, because there's 6 million people in Denver, or in, you know, in that vicinity. And that's a lot of people to handle. And you figure 10% of that being gay, lesbian, whatever, it adds up quick. Anyway, Trax it's smaller than La Cage, but it's about maybe twice the capacity, only because they separated things into rooms. If any of you have been to Sidetrack in Chicago, you will understand what I mean. They kind of have a dancier, fun, La Cage style club room, and then they have the 80s, 90s, you know, B-52s, Love Shack kind of a feel. And bartenders were all gorgeous. Barbacks were nice. They had go-go dancers, but the go-go dancers weren't like just on the cage or in a box or whatever. They were actually engaging the crowd. They would walk around, and if they saw somebody off the dance floor hopping their feet or clapping along, they would yank them onto the dance floor and dance with them for a little while. I thought that was pretty neat. Granted, I mean, they're getting paid to do that, so, you know, it might not be, you know, the most flattering thing, but in the same respect, they engage the crowd, which is something that most of our bars don't do. You know, it just, being open isn't just enough for them. So, let's see, I'm at 8 minutes. Oh, I gotta start talking. Okay, so went to the mountains, went to this overlook point, which was really nice. At about 3,800 feet, got to go out on these rocks that extended out of the mountain and look down and kind of saw, you know, everything. Got to see the entire city of Denver and all that. That was really fun. Mentioned Twilight. Oh, one of the things I did want to mention before I let you go is I noticed that the planes sound different based on where you're sitting, and they have a completely different feel. On the way there, I sat in the back, and on the way home, I sat in the front. I recommend sitting closer to the front if you can at all help it. In the back, it just seemed like, kind of seemed like you were following. You couldn't really feel that you were moving, except during takeoff and landing. You could hear all the different noises that the plane makes, and the bathrooms and the flight attendants and all that. In the front, it felt more like you were traveling in a very soft car. And on the way back, I got a window seat, which also was awesome because, you know, I got to see the sunset as I was flying to Milwaukee. So that was really great. YouTube only lets me have 10 minutes, and I'm at 9:42, so I guess I'm going to stop and talk to you soon.